The listing went live 14 months ago. A 12,000 square foot mansion in Bel Air with panoramic views of the Pacific Ocean. 8 bedrooms. 12 bathrooms, an infinity pool that seems to merge with the horizon, a home theater, a wine Sayara garage for 8 cars, and grounds maintained by a full-time staff. The asking price was $34 million. It dropped to $29 million after 6 months, then $24 million, then 19. Today it sits at $16 million, less than half the original price, and still no buyer has emerged. The listing photos remain stunning. The virtual tour still impresses, but the phone does not ring. The offers do not come. This mansion is not unique. It is not cursed or flawed or hidden from the market. It is one of thousands. Across Los Angeles, the most expensive homes in America are sitting unsold for months, then years. Price reductions that would have been unthinkable 5 years ago have become routine. The luxury real estate market that once seemed immune to economic gravity is learning that gravity always wins. This is not a correction. This is not a pause. This is the sound of a market discovering that the buyers it assumed would always exist have vanished, and no one knows if they are coming back. This is the story of LA's million-dollar mansions, and the collapse that no one wants to admit is happening. To understand the current crisis, you need to understand what made the Los Angeles luxury market seem invincible. For decades, high-end real estate in LA operated by different rules than real estate elsewhere. Prices only went up. Demand always exceeded supply. The wealthy of the world competed for the privilege of owning property in the hills above Hollywood. The geography created natural scarcity. The desirable areas, Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Holmby Hills, Pacific Palisades, the bird streets, occupy limited land constrained by mountains, canyons, and the ocean. You cannot manufacture more Bel Air. You cannot create additional beachfront in Malibu. The supply was fixed, while demand seemed infinite. The entertainment industry provided a constant stream of newly wealthy buyers. Every hit movie, every successful television series, every streaming deal created millionaires and billionaires who wanted to live where the industry lived. The proximity to studios, to agents, to the machinery of fame justified prices that would be absurd anywhere else. Foreign money amplified everything. Wealthy individuals from China, Russia, the Middle East, and elsewhere discovered Los Angeles real estate as a safe haven for capital. They bought not because they loved the city, but because they trusted the asset. The mansions were stores of value disguised as homes. These forces combined to create a market that defied normal economics. Prices doubled, then doubled again. Properties sold within days of listing, often above asking price. The assumption that Los Angeles luxury real estate always appreciated became so ingrained that questioning it seemed foolish. Then the assumptions started breaking, one by one. The foreign money disappeared first. China imposed capital controls that made moving large sums out of the country difficult and risky. The wealthy Chinese buyers who had driven much of the market's appreciation found their access to funds restricted. The pipeline that had delivered billions to Los Angeles real estate narrowed to a trickle. Russian money became legally complicated after sanctions made transactions with Russian nationals problematic. Banks grew cautious about accepting funds with unclear origins. The oligarchs who had purchased trophy properties found selling as difficult as buying had once been easy. Middle Eastern buyers, once reliable sources of ultra-high-end purchases, shifted their attention elsewhere. Dubai offered similar luxury with better tax treatment. European capitals provided culture that Los Angeles lacked. The competition for wealthy global citizens intensified, while law's appeal diminished. The domestic tech wealth that might have replaced foreign buyers had its own problems. The stock market decline of 2022 erased trillions in paper wealth. The tech executives who had planned to upgrade from their starter mansions to their forever mansions found their equity compensation worth half what it had been. The IPO pipeline that created new millionaires slowed dramatically. The entertainment industry itself transformed. Streaming replaced theatrical releases. The massive paydays that once accompanied hit movies became rarer. The actors and producers and executives who had always been reliable buyers of Los Angeles luxury real estate found their incomes less certain than before. The buyers who had made the market did not disappear entirely, but they became fewer. More ekotos less willing to pay prices that assumed perpetual appreciation. The supply of mansions remained. The demand collapsed. I spent time with several luxury real estate agents who work the high-end Los Angeles market. Their public statements remain optimistic, as professional survival requires. Their private assessments are darker. One agent, who asked not to be identified, because she still needs to attract sellers, described the current market as unprecedented in her 23-year career. Properties that would have generated multiple offers within a week now sit for months without serious interest. Price reductions that would have been career-ending embarrassments are now standard procedure. The sellers don't understand. They bought at the peak. They watch their neighbors sell for incredible prices. They think their home is worth what it was worth in 2021. But that market is gone. It's not coming back. And until they accept that, their properties just sit. The psychology of sellers has become the central obstacle. Owners who paid $20 million for a mansion cannot accept selling for $12 million, even if $12 million represents the current market reality. They would rather wait, hoping for recovery, watching their properties age and their carrying costs accumulate. The agents understand the math, but sellers refuse to accept. Every month, a property sits unsold costs money. Property taxes on a $20 million home run, over $200,000 annually. Insurance, maintenance, staff, utilities add hundreds of thousands more. The carrying costs of an unsold mansion can exceed $50,000 monthly. Some sellers can afford to wait indefinitely. Others cannot. Let's pretend they can. The market fills with listings that are not serious offers, but rather hopeful gestures. Price is said to validate owner expectations rather than attract buyers. The inventory numbers tell the story statistically. In the ultra-luxury segment, homes priced above $10 million. Los Angeles currently has more than 18 months of supply. In a healthy market, 6 months of inventory represents balance between buyers and sellers. 18 months indicates severe oversupply. In certain neighborhoods, the situation is more extreme. Some zip codes in the hills have years of inventory at current sales rates. The mansions stack up behind each other, each waiting for buyers who are considering all of them and choosing none. New construction has made the glut worse. Throughout the boom years, developers built spec mansions on every available lot, confident that buyers would appear for any property with the right views and amenities. Many of those developers are now desperate. Their construction loans coming due. Their investors demanding returns that cannot be generated from unsold properties. The spec mansion phenomenon created a specific problem. These homes were built to impress, rather than to live in. They feature massive square footage, elaborate amenities, and design choices that photograph well, but may not suit actual residents. A buyer looking for a home to live in may find that a 30,000 square foot spec mansion, however impressive, does not meet their needs. The result is a market segmented by seller motivation. Desperate developers will negotiate. Long-term owners, with no financial pressure, will not. Buyers who recognize this dynamic focus their attention on the desperate, while ignoring the stubborn, creating activity that does not benefit most of the inventory. The geography of decline varies across Los Angeles. Some neighborhoods have fared better than others, though none has escaped entirely. Malibu's beachfront properties have held value better than most, the scarcity of oceanfront land providing support that other locations lack. But even Malibu has seen price reductions in extended marketing times that would have been unthinkable at the peak. Bel Air, the original celebrity enclave, has struggled significantly. The neighborhood's identity was always tied to old Hollywood money and the privacy that its winding roads provided. But old Hollywood money is dying, or moving, and the privacy feels less valuable to generations raised on social media. The Bird Streets, the collection of avenues above Sunset Strip with names like Blue Jay Way and Oriole Drive, attracted tech money and young entertainment figures during the boom. Now many of those buyers are underwater, having purchased at prices that current markets do not support. Beverly Hills remains Beverly Hills, the name still carrying weight that other locations lack. But even area properties linger on market longer than they should. The assumption that Beverly Hills real estate was immune to decline has proven as false as every other assumption about this market. Pacific Palisades, the family-oriented wealthy enclave between Malibu and Santa Monica, has seen its own struggles. The fires that threaten annually have made insurance difficult or impossible to obtain. The combination of high prices, fire risk, and insurance challenges has suppressed demand. The mansion itself has become the problem for some sellers. The homes built during the boom years optimize for impressiveness rather than livability. They feature spaces that no family actually needs, designed to appear in architectural magazines, rather than to function as residences. The bowling alleys, the indoor basketball courts, the nightclubs in basements, the car galleries with turntable stees. Amenities impressed buyers during the boom. Now they represent maintenance costs in specialized spaces that most purchasers would rather not own. The scale of these homes creates ongoing expenses that surprise even wealthy buyers. A 20,000 square foot mansion requires staff to maintain. The grounds need gardeners. The pools need technicians. The systems need engineers. The annual cost of operating such a property can exceed $500,000 before any mortgage payment. The environmental consciousness of younger wealthy buyers also affects demand. A mansion that consumes massive energy, that requires constant water for landscaping in a drought-prone region. That represents conspicuous consumption at its most extreme. This conflicts with values that some potential buyers hold. They want luxury, but perhaps not this kind of luxury. The result is a mismatch between what sellers have and what buyers want. The mansions built for the 2015 market do not necessarily appeal to the 2025 buyer. The features that added value then may subtract value now. The agents who navigate this market have developed strategies for managing the gap between seller expectations and buyer realities. The most important skill is managing the initial pricing conversation. When a seller believes their home is worth $40 million and the market suggests $25 million, the agent faces a dilemma. Take the listing at the unrealistic price and waste months proving the seller wrong, or refuse the listing and lose the potential commission to an agent willing to promise what cannot be delivered. Most agents compromised. They take listings at prices they know are too high, planning to deliver the price reductions later. The phrase they use is educating the seller, a process that involves showing the seller data, feedback from potential buyers, and comparable sales until reality becomes undeniable. This process can take months or years. Some sellers never accept reality. Their properties become what agents call stale listings, homes that have been on the market so long that buyers assume something must be wrong with them. The staleness becomes its own obstacle, a stigma that can only be overcome with price reductions dramatic enough to overcome buyers' suspicion. The successful sales that do occur often happen off-market, negotiated privately between agents who represent both buyer and seller. These transactions avoid the stigma of public listing and allow sellers to accept lower prices without the embarrassment of visible failure. The official market statistics miss many of these sales, making the public data appear worse than the complete picture. The financing environment has complicated everything. Interest rates that hovered near historic lows during the boom have risen substantially. For buyers who finance their purchases, the monthly cost of carrying a mansion has increased dramatically even if the purchase price has fallen. A $20 million mansion at a 3% mortgage rate costs very differently than the same mansion at a 7% rate. The payment difference can exceed $50,000 monthly. Buyers who might have stretched to afford a property at low rates find the same property impossible at higher rates. This particularly affects the lower end of the luxury market. The homes priced between $3 and $10 million that wealthy professionals might purchase. These buyers typically use financing. The rate environment has pushed many of them to the sidelines, waiting for either prices or rates to decline. The ultra-wealthy buyers who pay cash are less affected by rates, but more affected by the general economic uncertainty that higher rates reflect. When central banks raise rates to combat inflation, it signals economic conditions that make even the wealthy more conservative. The appetite for trophy properties diminishes when the economic future feels uncertain. The lending standards for jumbo mortgages, the loans used for luxury properties, have also tightened. Banks that once competed aggressively for wealthy borrowers have become more selective. The documentation requirements, the reserve requirements, the scrutiny of income sources have all increased. Even qualified buyers face more obstacles than before. The property tax situation in California creates specific challenges for the luxury market. Proposition 13 passed in 1978. Limits property tax increases for existing owners, but assesses new purchases at current market value. This creates massive disparities between long-term owners and recent buyers. A mansion purchased in 1990 might carry property taxes of $50,000 annually. The same mansion, if purchased today, might carry taxes of $300,000 annually. This differential affects both buying and selling decisions. Long-term owners have enormous tax incentives to stay. Selling their current property and buying another would reset their tax basis, potentially tripling their annual tax bill. Many wealthy owners who might otherwise move choose to stay, reducing turnover and supply. New buyers face the full tax burden, an additional cost that must be incorporated into their calculations. The annual tax bill on a $30 million property exceeds $300,000, a number that gives even wealthy buyers pause. This ongoing cost reduces the price buyers are willing to pay up front. The result is a market where long-term owners are reluctant to sell, reducing supply of established properties, while new construction floods the market with properties that carry full tax burdens. The inventory skews toward the less desirable options, while the more desirable properties remain off. The insurance crisis has emerged as an unexpected factor in the luxury market decline. California's fire risk has made insurers increasingly unwilling to write policies for properties in high-risk areas, which includes many of the most expensive neighborhoods. A mansion in the hills above Los Angeles may be uninsurable through traditional markets. The alternatives are state-backed plans with limited coverage or surplus lines, carriers with premiums that can exceed $100,000 annually. Some properties have become effectively uninsurable at any price. For buyers, this creates serious obstacles. Lenders require insurance. Without coverage, financing becomes impossible. Even cash buyers may be unwilling to own assets they cannot protect. The insurance situation removes potential buyers from the market entirely. The fire seasons have become more severe, more frequent, and more damaging. The luxury neighborhoods that command premium prices for their views are often the same neighborhoods most vulnerable to fire. The canyons and hills that provide beauty also provide fuel and wind corridors that accelerate destruction. Some buyers have concluded that the risk is simply unacceptable. They might pay $20 million for a mansion today and watch it burn tomorrow. The insurance might cover the structure but not the land value. The trauma of loss cannot be compensated. These calculations lead buyers toward properties in less risky areas, reducing demand for the traditional luxury locations. The work-from-home revolution initially seemed to benefit Los Angeles real estate. If people could work from anywhere, why not work from a mansion with views of the Pacific? The pandemic saw a brief surge in luxury purchases, as wealthy remote workers sought more space. That surge is reversed. Remote work has normalized, but so has the realization that location decisions can be revisited. The executives who bought Los Angeles mansions in 2020 and 2021 have discovered that they could just as easily work from properties in lower tax states, from beach houses in less expensive markets, from European cities with better quality of life. The exodus from California has accelerated. High earners who might once have purchased Los Angeles mansions are instead purchasing properties in Miami, Austin, Nashville, and other locations that offer lower taxes and different lifestyles. The competition for wealthy buyers has intensified while Los Angeles' competitive position has deteriorated. The state income tax burden alone can exceed $10 million annually for the highest earners. That money, invested over a career, compounds dramatically. The calculation increasingly favors departure for those with the mobility to leave, and the people who buy $30 million mansions typically have that mobility. Each departure removes a potential buyer from the Los Angeles market and potentially adds a seller. The executive who leaves for Florida may sell their Bel Air mansion, adding inventory while subtracting demand. The dynamic is self-reinforcing in dangerous ways. The generational wealth transfer presents both opportunity and challenge for the luxury market. The baby boomer generation that accumulated much of America's wealth is aging. Their estates, including their mansions, will eventually transfer to heirs or be liquidated. Some heirs will want to keep family properties. Money will not. The maintenance burden the property tax implications, the location preferences of younger generations all point toward liquidation rather than retention. A wave of inherited mansions hitting the market could depress prices further. The younger wealthy have different preferences than their parents and grandparents. They may want luxury, but they often want different luxury. Urban condos rather than suburban estates, experiences rather than possessions. Flexibility rather than permanence. The 30,000 square foot mansion appeals less to a generation raised with different values. The homes that baby boomers built for themselves may not appeal to the generations that follow. The formal dining rooms, the elaborate entertaining spaces, the architectural styles that defined an era may feel dated to buyers with different aesthetic preferences. The mansions could become millstones, unmarketable at any price. This generational mismatch extends to the real estate agents themselves. Many of the top luxury agents are themselves aging, their relationships with clients spanning decades. As these agents retire, the institutional knowledge and relationships that drove the market will dissipate. The next generation of agents may not have the connections to replace them. The generational wealth transfer presents both opportunity and challenge for the luxury market. The baby boomer generation that accumulated much of America's wealth is aging. Their estates, including their mansions, will eventually transfer to heirs or be liquidated. Some heirs will want to keep family properties. Many will not. The maintenance burden, the property tax implications, the location preferences of younger generations all point toward liquidation rather than retention. A wave of inherited mansions hitting the market could depress prices further. The younger wealthy have different preferences than their parents and grandparents. They may want luxury, but they often want different luxury. Urban condos rather than suburban estates, experiences rather than possessions. Flexibility rather than permanence. The 30,000 square foot mansion appeals less to a generation raised with different values. The homes that baby boomers built for themselves may not appeal to the generations that follow. The formal dining rooms, the elaborate entertaining spaces, the architectural styles that defined an era may feel dated to buyers with different aesthetic preferences. The mansions could become millstones, unmarketable at any price. This generational mismatch extends to the real estate agents themselves. Many of the top luxury agents are themselves aging, their relationships with clients spanning decades. As these agents retire, the institutional knowledge and relationships that drove the market will dissipate. The next generation of agents may not have the connections to replace them. I toured several mansions that have been on the market for extended periods. The experience was educational in unexpected ways. The properties themselves remained impressive. The architecture, the amenities, the locations all justified substantial prices. Standing in a living room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, watching the sun set over the Pacific, the value seemed obvious, but the details revealed problems. The style that seemed cutting-edge 5 years ago now appeared dated. The smart home systems that were selling points have become maintenance headaches. The outdoor kitchens and infinity pools require constant attention. The properties show their age in ways that reduce appeal. The agents conducting the tours maintained professional optimism while acknowledging market challenges. They spoke of motivated sellers and negotiable prices and opportunities for buyers. The language of desperation was absent, but its substance was present. One property had been listed for nearly 3 years. The original asking price was $42 million. The current price was $23 million. The agent described the owner as realistic, now about market conditions. 3 years of carrying costs, perhaps $5 million total, had purchased that realism. The buyers who do appear are looking for bargains, not dream homes. They calculate precisely, understanding their leverage, willing to walk away from any property that does not meet their price expectations. The desperation that once characterized buyers now characterizes sellers. The power dynamic has inverted completely. The rental market for luxury properties has emerged as an alternative to selling for some owners. Rather than accept prices they consider too low, owners rent their mansions to tenants willing to pay substantial monthly amounts. The rental rates for ultra-luxury properties can exceed $100,000 monthly. At that level, tenants are typically entertainment productions, corporations, housing executives, or wealthy individuals who want mansion living without permanent commitment. The tenant pool is limited but real. For owners, renting preserves optionality. They maintain ownership, hoping for a market recovery, while generating income that offsets carrying costs. The rental income may not match their expectations, but it provides something while they wait. The challenge is that rented properties suffer where that owner-occupied properties do not. Tenants, even wealthy tenants, do not care for properties the way owners do. The rental period may generate income while reducing value, a trade-off that some owners failed to anticipate. The rental market has also created competition for the sales market. A potential buyer who might purchase a mansion may instead rent one, satisfying their desire for luxury living without the commitment and risk of ownership. Every long-term rental represents a sale that did not happen. The developers who built spec mansions during the boom faced the most acute distress. Their business model assumed rapid sales at premium prices. Instead, they hold completed properties that generate no income while construction loans accrue interest. Some developers have negotiated extensions with their lenders, buying time that may or may not prove valuable. Others have been forced to sell at whatever prices the market offers, taking losses that eliminate years of profit. A few have defaulted entirely, surrendering properties to lenders who are equally unprepared to sell them. The construction lending market has responded by restricting new loans for spec luxury development. Banks that once competed to finance mansion construction now avoid the segment entirely. The projects that proceed typically require larger equity contributions and faster sale timelines than before. This restriction will eventually reduce supply, which should support prices. but the adjustment period could take years. The inventory already built must be absorbed before new supply constraints begin to matter. The developers who survive the current period will find a better market eventually. Many will not survive to see it. The land underneath failed developments presents its own challenges. A lot purchased for $5 million, with a spec mansion that cost $15 million to build, represents $20 million in cost. If the completed property sells for $12 million, the developer loses $8 million. If it does not sell at all, the loss potentially includes the entire investment. The broader economic implications of the luxury market collapse extend beyond the wealthy individuals directly involved. The construction workers who build mansions have found less work. The specialized trades that serve the high end, the artisans, the custom fabricators, the installers of exotic materials, have seen demand decline. The employment that luxury construction supported has diminished. The service workers who maintain mansions face similar pressures. The housekeepers, gardeners, pool technicians, and security personnel who staffed these properties have fewer properties to staff. As owners cut costs or sell properties, the workers who depended on them must find alternatives. The local businesses that served wealthy neighborhoods feel the impact. The restaurants, shops, and services that catered to mansion owners have lost customers. Some have closed. Others operate with reduced expectations, waiting for recovery that may not come. The property tax revenue that funded local government services has declined as assessments fall. The cities and counties that depend on this revenue must either reduce services or raise taxes elsewhere. The public implications of private market decline ripple outward. What happens next? The question lacks clear answers, but certain scenarios seem more likely than others. The most optimistic scenario involves interest rate declines that restore affordability and attract sidelined buyers. If the Federal Reserve reduces rates significantly, the monthly cost of mansion ownership falls, potentially reactivating demand. Some combination of lower rates and reduced prices could clear the existing inventory and restore market function. The moderately pessimistic scenario involves extended stagnation. Sellers who refuse to accept current prices continue holding. Buyers who refuse to pay current prices continue waiting. The market remains frozen, neither crashing dramatically nor recovering meaningfully. This condition could persist for years. The most pessimistic scenario involves forced selling that creates cascading price declines. If developers default in significant numbers, if long-term owners face financial pressure, if estate sales flood the market simultaneously, the supply surge could overwhelm any demand. Prices could fall substantially further, creating losses that extend throughout the economy. The wildcard is California itself. The state's policies on taxes, regulations, and business environment will influence whether wealthy individuals stay or leave. Political decisions made in Sacramento could accelerate the exodus that is already underway, or reverse it through reforms that improve competitiveness. The mansions themselves will endure. The physical structures, the views, the locations that made them valuable remain. The marble floors will not crack because the market has. The infinity pools will not drain because buyers have disappeared. The buildings persist regardless of the economics surrounding them. What changes is their meaning. A mansion that once represented success and achievement may come to represent overreach and miscalculation. A neighborhood that once signified arrival may come to signify decline. The symbols retain their form while their content shifts. Some mansions will find buyers eventually, at prices that current owners would reject, but future owners will accept. The market will clear, as markets always do, though the clearing may take longer and occur at lower prices than anyone currently expects. Other mansions may never sell as homes. They may be converted to other uses, divided into multiple units, or demolished to make way for developments better suited to current demand. The highest and best use of land changes with circumstances. A 30,000 square foot mansion that cannot sell for $10 million might be replaced by 6 homes that sell for $3 million each. The agents, the developers, the sellers, the buyers, everyone involved in the luxury Los Angeles real estate market is adapting to a new reality. The assumptions that guided decisions for decades have been proven false. The models that predicted outcomes no longer function. The future is genuinely uncertain in ways it has not been for a generation. For those who bought at the peak, the losses are real and substantial. A mansion purchased for $30 million and now worth $18 million represents $12 million in evaporated wealth. The loss exists whether or not the owner sells. The market has spoken, and its verdict is harsh. For those who might buy now, the opportunity is genuine. The properties available today at $15 million would have sold for $25 million 3 years ago. The discount is real for buyers with cash, courage, and long-term horizons. But buying into a declining market requires conviction that the decline will eventually reverse. For those who work in the industry, adaptation is survival. The agents who built careers on easy transactions must learn to work harder for fewer deals. The service providers who assume steady demand must diversify or contract. The ecosystem that supported the boom must shrink to match the reality of the bust. The sun sets over Los Angeles, painting the sky in colors that no mansion, however expensive, can match it. The light falls equally on properties worth $50 million and properties worth nothing, on homes occupied and homes abandoned, on markets rising and markets falling. In the hills above the city, the mansions stand as they have stood through previous booms and busts. They have seen fortunes made and lost before. They have watched owners come and go. They have observed markets that seemed permanent prove temporary. The current crisis will pass, as previous crises have passed. The luxury market will recover eventually, in some form, at some level. The wealthy will always want beautiful places to live. Los Angeles will always have beauty to offer. But the market that emerges from this collapse will differ from the market that preceded it. The assumptions will be different. The participants will be different. The relationship between price and value will require recalibration. The effortless appreciation that once seemed guaranteed will seem like the anomaly it always was. The for sale signs will remain on the lawns until buyers emerge or prices fall far enough to create demand. The mansions will wait, beautiful and empty, for a market that may take years to materialize. $20 million, $15 million, $10 million. How far do prices fall before the market finds a floor? No one knows. The sellers hope not much further, the buyers hope much further still, and the mansions keep waiting. Spectacular, expensive, and increasingly unwanted. This is the collapse that nobody expected. The correction that has no clear bottom. The Los Angeles luxury market, finding out what its mansions are actually worth. The answer is less than anyone wanted to believe.